Hi, I'm Raleigh Brown, and today we're going to do a lesson on the nuts and bolts of ear training for guitarists. Now, ear training in general is meant to be a way that you can hear something played on any instrument or sung, and then have a way of getting it onto your instrument, or of having a framework by which you understand what's going on musically so that you can reproduce it in some way. And we're going to especially be gearing this for guitarists and within a limited range, which I'll tell you about a little later. But first, let's get started by tuning up our guitars, and then we'll move on from there. So, and remember these names. This high string is your first string. High E is first string. B is second string. G is the third string. D is the fourth string. A is the fifth string. And low E is the sixth string. And if you make it a point to remember both those letter names of the strings and the numbers of the strings, it'll make it much easier for me to communicate with you, so that when I tell you which string I'm playing something on, you won't have to do too much counting or faking it. Okay? So we're all set to go now, and let's get started. So, as I said a couple minutes ago, what we want to teach you how to do is how to hear something, and we're going to particularly focus on hearing things on the guitar and being able to reproduce them on your guitar. And for a lot of guitarists, musicians in general, this is one of the hallmarks of what makes a musician competent, is their ability to hear something on a record or in a live performance, or even if they just hear it by imagining it in their own mind and then being able to play it on the guitar. So it's our goal to help you do that, and because we're concentrating on the guitar, there will be some things which are specific to that. We'll kind of discuss where you hear something in terms of the musical range may help you locate it on your guitar neck in a way that's usable for you. Now, I want to emphasize at the outset that this ear training, this is a lifetime thing. And George Van Eps, the great jazz guitarist, once did this equation where he did the mathematics of if you played every combination of 6 open strings, every possible combination, it came to 720 possibles. Then he said if you had 12 notes on one string and did every possible combination of those 12 notes, it came out to 479,001,600. And then by multiplying those together, he came out with a number which would be the possibilities of what you could play on the guitar, and it was 344 billion and some. We're not going to cover all of those today. You should just know that right from the outset. And what we are going to do is try and get you started with some basic structures and being able to hear them. In order to do that, we're going to give you some quizzes, and there's going to be some sections where I will play you something, and what I'd like you to do is wind it back, listen to it again, have a piece of paper, and see if you can write down the answers, and then we'll give you the answers. So a lot of times when I do one of these DVDs, I recommend that at the outset you watch the whole DVD through from start to finish, and then figure out what places you want to focus on. This is not one of those times. This is a DVD which you should work through slowly and in an organized fashion. And also, the things I give you here, obviously if I give you a quiz that asks you to play several notes, and then you do it, and then you wind it back and do it again, well, by the third time you've probably memorized the answers. So I also want to give you a format for making up your own quizzes so that you can record things and then check out how your own ears hear them. Okay, now in doing this, there's three aspects of music always, and there's melody, which you might think of as scales, there's harmony, which you might think of as chords, and there's rhythm, which is how your right hand primarily, but maybe your left as well, creates or deals with the issue of time, of the passage of time, and a pulse in the music. We're going to really focus more on melody and harmony in this video. We might touch on rhythms a little bit before we're done. But we're going to start out by talking about scales and quizzing you on them. And then we're going to talk about chords and quiz you on those and try and have a few songs in there for you that you can actually learn the songs. We'll include tablature. But before you learn them, you will have to try to figure out what they are using your ears. Okay? Now, a couple things you should think about as we go along with this. The first one is keep it simple at first. If you start out by trying to figure out Goodbye Pork Pie Hat by who did do that? Thelonious Monk? Charlie Mingus. You're going to run into trouble. I would run into trouble. So we're going to start with simple structures and hopefully show you how to extrapolate those into some more complex or more unusual ones. Okay, so I'm going to get right down to work with you with the major scale. We'll have to explain it a little bit, and then we'll start in with some quizzes. Here we go.